Buckle up because today's episode is a wild ride. We're diving into a conversation that's equal parts fascinating, alarming, and thought-provoking. It's a pre-election update with Michael Yon, a man who's seen more chaos and conflict around the globe than most of us can even imagine. And let me tell you, his perspective on what's coming for America is, well, let's just say it's not your typical political pundit's take. This is raw, unfiltered, and deeply unsettling. So, let's get into it. First off, Michael Yon doesn't mince words. He's straight up skeptical about the integrity of U.S. elections. He's seen enough to believe that fraud has been rampant in the last two elections, both the midterms and the presidential race. And he's not holding his breath for this one to be any different. He's like, why would it be? The system's rigged. But here's the kicker. He's not just talking about voter fraud. He's talking about the entire game being rigged. It's not just about who wins or loses. It's about the forces behind the scenes pulling the strings. And according to Yon, those forces are more interested in power and control than in democracy. Now let's talk about Trump. Yon's not a fan. He sees Trump as a WrestleMania guy, someone who's more about the spectacle than the substance. He's not convinced Trump is truly putting America first. In fact, Yon believes Trump's loyalty lies elsewhere, specifically with Zionists. He's not shy about calling it out either. He's like, look at his team. Look at his policies. It's obvious. And this isn't just some off-the-cuff remark. Yon's been approached by people close to Trump who've asked for his help on border issues. But here's the thing. Yon's not part of the Trump cult. He's an American who wants the border secured, but he's not drinking the Kool-Aid. He's clear-eyed about where Trump stands and where he falls short. But it's not just Trump. Yon's got some serious concerns about the direction of the country as a whole. He's talking about the potential for Christians to be labeled as extremists, for Bible scripture to be outlawed. And before you roll your eyes, he's got examples. He mentions a friend who used ChatGPT to generate a fake CIA report on himself, and it flagged his interest in Bible scripture as a potential sign of extremism. That's chilling. Yon's like, this is where we're headed. If you're a Christian, you might want to start preparing for some serious pushback. And then there's the financial side of things. Yon's been hanging out with Doug Casey, a commodities genius who's been warning about the collapse of the dollar for years. Yon's not optimistic about Trump's ability to turn things around financially. He points out that Trump blew up the national debt during his first term, and he's not convinced Trump understands Austrian economics or fiscal responsibility. Yon's like, this empire is done. The dollar's gonna unwind, and we're headed for hyperinflation. Or worse, a war to cover up the collapse. But here's where it gets really intense. Yon's not just talking about financial collapse. He's talking about the potential for famine. He's studied famine extensively, and he's seen how quickly societies can unravel when food supplies run out. He's like, if the electrical grid goes down, we're looking at famine within weeks. And he's not just speculating. He's been in war zones. He's seen what happens when systems break down. He's talking about people eating tree bark, grass, even leather. It's grim, but it's a reality he's seen firsthand. And then there's the issue of preparedness. Yon's been in Thailand, where people are way more prepared for disasters than Americans. He's like, in Thailand, when disaster strikes, people come together like an ant colony. They get it done. But in America, he's not so sure. He's seen how dependent we've become on systems that could fail at any moment. And he's not just talking about FEMA. He's talking about the average American's lack of preparedness. He's like, most people aren't ready for what's coming. They're not growing their own food. They're not storing supplies. They're not even thinking about it. But here's the thing. Yon's not all doom and gloom. He's a realist, but he's also a problem solver. He's been through 40 days of fasting. Yes, 40 days. And he's a big believer in self-reliance and purification. He's like, if you're able to fast, do it. It's transformative. And he's not just talking about physical health. He's talking about mental and spiritual clarity. He's like, when you fast, you see things more clearly. You're not clouded by all the noise. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Yon's message is clear. Be prepared. Whether it's financial collapse, famine, or political chaos, The systems we rely on are fragile, and if they fail, it's going to be up to us to pick up the pieces. Yon's not saying it's going to be easy. He's not saying it's going to be pretty, but he's saying it's possible if we're willing to do the work. All right, Bright Learners, that's it for today's episode. If you're not already following Michael Yon on Twitter or Substack, you need to. His insights are invaluable, especially in times like these. And if you're not already thinking about how to prepare for what's coming, now's the time to start. Because one thing's for sure, the world is changing fast, and we need to be ready for whatever comes next. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, stay curious, stay informed, and stay prepared. This is BrightLearn, signing off. See you next time.
This has been a BrightLearn.ai summary of an interview between Michael Yon and Mike Adams on October 30th, 2024. The full interview is available at brighteon.com, where you can also find podcasts and special reports by Mike Adams and other creators. Visit naturalnews.com for full editorial coverage of this interview and breaking news on critical stories that will keep you informed and aware of what's really going on.